Breaking news. Free agent quarterback Kirk Cousins. Play the alarm thing.
No, this actually is real. This is coming straight from
real?
the source. Mike McCartney, who is Kirk Cousins' agent.
Ouch.
He's a Chicago guy. Excited for Kirk Cousins agreeing to a 4-year deal with the Atlanta Falcons.
Wow.
Ouch.
Wow.
That's. I mean, I see celebration in the corner there by the GM because he thinks it's more likely that Justin's going to stay. I hate that's a bad development for the Bears. That was your last potential.
Well, Adam Schefter said this morning on Get Up ESPN that the Falcons weren't even looking into Justin Fields. That was said by Schefter this morning on Get Up ESPN.
Okay, it's not looking at Fields. Okay,
Yeah,
it was.
so-
he was still the favorite in the betting markets, and I always believe the gamblers more than I believe anybody else.
My prediction has been that I think the Giants are the team that makes sense for Fields, and I've been saying that for a week or week and a half or so now. I think it makes a lot of sense. So that's the question. You have the Giants, the Seahawks, the Raiders.
Seahawks.
The Seahawks, I think, are a team that you have to consider.
Broncos?
The Vikings, the Broncos. Of those 5 teams that I just said, or the Bears.
There is nowhere that you can point to for Justin right now that he's going to as a starter. The Bears aren't. Gary Ross, I made a bet with you. The Bears wouldn't get a second-round pick. You could pay now. They are not. There's the value for Justin is low. So now, for the Bears have 2 choices: get pennies on the dollar, 50 cents maybe on the dollar at best, and or keep them. That's the reality. So that ain't great. I'm not saying that.
And so, in your opinion,
no.
Hoge, do you
think I'm wrong?
What?
Or you think that's not logical?
Well,
Whatever.
Okay. What about the Raiders?
Raiders, Seahawks,
Patriots.
Giants, Vikings, Patriots.
You think that Luke Getsy thinks and I think he likes Justin a lot, but you think he's a fit with the Raiders? You think they're not asking him? I don't see the Raiders.
I think at the right price it could happen.
Sure, the right price.
They
ain't paying up for him. I'm just saying that. What do you think they're getting for Fields right now?
What the Bears are getting?
Yeah. Do you think they're getting a 3rd-round pick?
I don't know.
Because it could be a 4th, honestly.
Yeah, but now the market is there. Now Justin Fields is the top potentially available, whether it's the number 1 pick or Justin Fields. I'm not going to leave out the number 1 pick as the option. So for all these teams we just mentioned, the Giants, the Raiders, the Broncos, the Vikings, the Seahawks, who am I missing? Of those teams, their option is either wait till the draft or trade for Justin Fields. And so Justin Fields right now is the top quarterback available. Now that Russell Wilson and Kirk Cousins are off the board. So now the leverage comes back to the Bears if any of these teams are going to inquire to trade for either option.
Let me ask you this question. Do you think that if the Raiders were going to go get a quarterback, do you think that Luke Getsy thinks that Gardner Minshew fits better in his offense or Justin Fields? I bet you would say Gardner Minshew.
I mean, this helps. So, okay, it hurts from a value standpoint.
Thank you.
I think that the Raiders would. Like I've said before on the show, one of the top things we learned at the Combine, or at least that I learned at the Combine, that I would have never guessed before we got there, was that Luke Getsy and Justin Fields actually get along, and they're closer than a lot of Bears fans realize. So to me, I think that Justin Fields to the Raiders is certainly on the table.
Luke Getsy did not come here for Justin Fields. He's not going to be. He might look at all the options available and might pick him number 1, but he certainly that would be because there's not a lot of options left.
Look, the reality of the situation is, going back to some of my own reporting, the year the Bears drafted Fields, is that the Vikings wanted Fields too. Now, that was different regime though. That was, before they had their new general manager and new head coach. So that doesn't mean that it's the same now. And I think that would be it's the same type of thing that we were talking about in Atlanta. You know, Kevin O'Connell's system. That being said, they've gone up against Fields the last couple of years. They both know what has hurt them and also how they successfully, mixed it up against him last year with a mixture of pressure and drop 8 coverage too. So, but that's a big question here. What do the Vikings do now? It's a huge loss.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, regardless of if they're in on Fields now, the Vikings just got bad.
Yep, the value
they did.
The value of Fields is like this concern for Bears fans, but yes, the division just got weaker today. And that helps the Bears.
No.
The Vikings got to figure out what they're going to do at quarterback now.
Yeah, and what are their options? And Justin Fields might be their best option right now. If you're Kevin O'Connell, I mean, I guess it's the same question you just said about Gardner Minshew.
It's a super bold move, by the way, for the Bears. We're trading you to Minnesota. That would be a super bold move.
One of my favorite things about this whole thing, and it includes Jake over there, I'm not afraid, this idea that nobody wanting Justin Fields, the twisted logic, and nobody else wanting Justin Fields should be more reason that the Bears keep him. What?
Yeah. And here's one way that this actually could help the Bears, by the way. The Vikings are picking at 11. We're picking at 9. Maybe the Vikings like JJ. Maybe he falls to that spot, and we get a significant haul for the Vikings to go from 11 to 9, or somebody to come up to 9 to get him. Of course, now J.J. McCarthy's being rumored to the Giants at 6, which feels fake to me. I can't imagine that they would do that. But so there.
That was my my bold prediction on the combine was that J.J. McCarthy's going to end up being a Minnesota Viking. But
in order for them to do that, though, don't you think they might have to trade up to 9 with the Bears?
Let's go.
If he's even there at 9,
huge value
for
the 9.
They might have to trade up higher,
right?
The Neighbors and Adunze are gone. The Bears don't love a wide receiver there.
Let me give you.
What do you got?
Diana Rossini. So what now? Look for the Vikings to go after Sam Darnold, who also has other suitors.
Jesus.
So now Justin Fields is falling behind Sam Darnold?
Or the Vikings should be looking at Gardner Minshew.
You love Gardner. Nobody loves the Gardner more than you.
I know. You bring him up.
Because Gardner's a good player.
He's solid. He did an unbelievable job with the Colts last year.
You can win with Gardner. He's obviously not elite.
Let me ask you this, because this is the what people are starting to kind of connect dots on. I'm asking Hoge. What I want to know is there any scenario where they look at the market and they say, we're not taking 50 cents on the dollar for a player as talented as Justin Fields. We're just going to keep him on the roster.
There it is.
And draft a quarterback anyway, or trade. Is there any scenario that they say, because of what the market and they're not getting what they want in a trade for him, that they keep him, and that sways what their decision will be going forward? Because that would go against this do right by Fields theory.
Right.
But at the same time, if nobody's willing to offer him a starting job, then what is doing right by Fields?
Probably just releasing him.
We all silly like the mayor.